watched my noir yet, but I'm getting to it. It's going to be an evening noir today. Instead, I have 3 films that I'm going to review in 3 separate videos. So I'm bombarding your inboxes. Whoops. The first one I saw in theaters. It's one of those limited release movies. You only get a week to watch it. So I waited naturally until the very last day. And this is Garry Winogrand, All Things Are Photographable. It was like written, directed, produced, and edited by Sasha Waters Freyer, and it's a documentary about Garry Winogrand. And if you're not familiar with his photography, you probably are, and you just don't have a name to go with the photos you've seen, because he's one of the most influential photographers of the 20th century, including the very famous photo of Marilyn Monroe with her white dress on the grate during the filming of Some Like It, not Some Like It Hot, 70 Rich. So you've at the very least seen that photograph, but his photographs are so iconic and so part of mid-century Americana that I guarantee you've seen them. This documentary basically follows the trajectory of his life, where he started, how he fell into photography, through him becoming an icon, through him becoming sort of a rebel to his death. And what I liked about it was the way they went through his biography was actually not necessarily chronologically, and bits and pieces from people who knew him, one of his ex-wives, he had 3, and actual audio recording of him from the mid-70s. So you got bits and pieces from other people, bits from him, bits from historians, bits from people who he mentored, people who worked with his work, people who critiqued his work. You got a very rounded look at him as an artist, and you had people who criticized some of his work and loved other bits of it, and vice versa. And so I thought it was a very well-rounded look at his impact on the art world and him as an artist in mid-century America. The one person whose commentary I didn't particularly care for was Matthew Weiner, who did Mad Men. I didn't feel like he added all too much, other than the context of some of Winogrand's photographs inspiring the part of Mad Men. That was about it. And I'm sure having his name attached helped get money, so can't fault them. But his commentary was like the least interesting. I definitely enjoyed learning more about him. I knew bits and pieces, but I didn't know much. So I would say, as someone who I consider myself a novice, I was entertained and I felt like I learned a lot. I was inspired. He's a very inspiring kind of photographer, and I was very inspired by his just shoot idea of work, and horrified that he died with 4,000 rolls of undeveloped film. Like, that's a lot. But then, as somebody who never manages to I'm sorry, my cat is off the camera licking my pie plate. So it's Thanksgiving. Cat got pie. I got lost because of the cat. Oh my god. Oh, well, so he stopped developing because he had so much work to do. He just photographed, and he they talk about how that's only half the work of a photographer, but he captured so much, and maybe that's okay. Especially because some of this photography towards the end is so beautiful. I don't know. And then he worked in color for a little bit, but he was talking about how color was just, you couldn't process it fast enough for the way he liked to work, and just fascinating stuff. And they said one of the photographers that really inspired him was Walker Evans. Walker Evans is one of my favorite photographers. His work for the WPA is some of the most beautiful photography of Americana I've ever seen. A lot of it's from the Great Depression, and it's amazing. And to see sort of that style get carried forward with Winogrand, and then been turned from photojournalism into art was definitely something. And to see how he died just before the over commercialization of the art market with the yuppie 80s. also fascinating. So if you don't know much about Winogrand, I think you'll go in knowing um, the amount that you would know if you like took a class on him. But what I particularly liked about this documentary was, although they had lots of talking heads, a good deal of the documentary showcased his photography, with either people talking over the photography, people talking over 16mm films that he made, etc., etc. It felt like going to a really well curated retrospective gallery screening because the art was so forefront in the documentary, and I appreciated that. So I liked this film quite a lot. I felt very inspired by it. This is Garry Winogrand, All Things Are Photographable, by Sasha Waters Freyer, and it's in limited right now, and it looked like it was produced by American Masters, so it'll probably end up on PBS at some point. Would recommend it. It's quite good, and it will make you want to just take all kinds of photographs and look around you more. I'm always a fan of people who find the beauty in ordinary things. That's a fave way of looking at life for me. So, Garry Winogrand, All Things Are Photographable, new documentary. Check it out.